Welcome to the Bleav Podcast Network, SoCal Sweat. My name is McDaniels, a former NFL cheerleader and product manager turned actress and model who dreams of being a UFC fighter. Meow. Learning strategies to help motivate others leads me to bring you interviews each week from a range of athletes, experts in fitness and nutrition, and so much more. Thanks for listening to Bleav, the #1 podcast for working professionals, and let's push our endorphins to higher performance through SoCal Sweat. This is your host, Ann McDaniels, and thank you for joining me on another episode of SoCal Sweat. Now today, I'm very excited to talk about the fitness craze called the 75 Hard. You may have seen it, it's all over TikTok, it was in the news for a fairly long time, and it's just been very interesting seeing people transform. There are many difficulties with this 75-day hard challenge, which is literally 75 days long. Now, the program was started by Andy Frisella, who's a successful CEO, fitness influencer who literally breathes, walks, does the talk of fitness and mental health. Now, Andy spent 20 years figuring out how to master his own mental toughness. And he put everything he learned into this program called 75 Hard. In today's episode, we're going to talk about everything that it consists of, all the mental discipline, everything it involves for 75 days. According to Andy, this program can make you 100 times the traits in yourself, like confidence, self-belief, discipline, grittiness, and will completely transform your life. Now, there are 5 requirements for this 75-day-long challenge. Number 1, you must drink a gallon of water each day. Number 2, you must perform 2 45-minute workouts each day, and one of them has to be outdoors. He wants you to get outside. Number 3, follow a nutrition program of your choice. And with this, there are absolutely 0 cheat days and 0 alcohol. Number 4, you must take a progress photo each day. And finally, Andy wants you to read 10 pages each day of a non-fiction book. Many people try to stick to business tactics or self-help books. During the 75 days of hardcore discipline, Andy Frisella wants you to increase your mental toughness and grit, inside and out. It's the mental challenge over the physical challenge. To discuss the 75 Hard Challenge plan, I bring on former bodybuilder who is also featured in the show Radical Body Transformation, which is available on both Netflix and Amazon Prime. Jeff is a fitness habit coach. He teaches busy professionals how to get their ideal body through focused plans and a methodical approach. He will tell us what he did for the 75 Hard Challenge, how it changed his life, and how it helps him coach his busy professionals and clients. And here I bring on Jeff Davis. Well, good morning, Jeff Davis Fit of North Dakota with your gorgeous hardwood floors. How are you over there in the freezing cold?
I'm doing great besides freezing. We just got back from Texas, so the weather was 70 degrees there, and then we came back to negative. So it takes a couple days to adapt, even though we've been here our whole life.
It does. And our whole subject today is going to be the 75 Hard Challenge, which we'll get into, but it's like that one of those workouts 45 minutes twice a day is outside, and I can't wait to hear about what you feel about that. So, Jeff, we're going to discuss the 75 Hard Challenge today, but first I want to get a little background on you. It's Jeff Davis Fit on Instagram. Your body looks sick in the bodybuilding realm, and I know that that's a lot of mental toughness, and I know that you teach that to clients. It's all about the mindset and mental toughness with that, which is obviously associated with 75 Hard, but what was the most difficult part of showing on stage and being such a perfect body?
So bodybuilding is definitely, it's been a hobby of mine for the last, since 2013 is when I began. One of the hardest things, and is definitely just the discipline and the mindset to be able to get your body to the best of the best. You know, you are competing to be better than 20 to 30 other guys on stage, you know, and not only that, that's just in your class, but then and then also going for an overall title as well. So you're going against, 20 to 30 guys on stage, and then you're competing against 4 to 5 to 6 other guys that beat 20 or 30 guys in their class.
The cream of the crop.
So you're going against
Yeah, absolutely. And it's all, everything is so disciplined. And, it's interesting because I have a podcast out today on obesity and the Cosmopolitan covers and what is healthy, what isn't healthy. And it's interesting because on the other side of it, and the girl that I interviewed is a bodybuilder as well, former. And, and I'm a fitness model, and it's like, we have so much going on in our heads. Could that be mentally unhealthy as well? So it's like, I think everybody shouldn't be thrown into one thing, but the 75 hard challenge really challenges that mindset and your background, even in bodybuilding alone. How about athletics? Did you grow up in an athletic family or sports?
I did, Anne. So growing up, I was very competitive, and that is why I got into competing, is because I wanted to feel that competitive edge again. That's why I got into this. So I grew up, I started playing hockey when I was really young. I would say, just very, very wee young. And then I actually didn't continue to pursue that. My parents had pulled me out. And then I got into basketball at a younger age. And then I was in golf in the spring. So basketball in the winter, golf in the spring. I continued that all throughout my high school career. I actually had to move in high school. So as a sophomore in high school, I had to move areas. That was a little harder on me.
Yeah.
But I was able to adapt really well because I'm an extrovert. So I can talk to anyone, and I can just fit right in, So I played basketball in 7th, 8th, 9th grade in Park Rapids, Minnesota. We moved to, and then my freshman year, actually my last year in Park Rapids, I actually transitioned from golf to track because I was really fast, and the track coach had watched a couple basketball games and recruited me to the track team.
Cool.
And wanted me to run the 4x1 team. So anyway, so I did that, and then I went over to Detroit Lakes. I continued basketball and track over there. Went to state a few times for track on the 4x1 team. I ran with some amazing athletes, and that was my athletics when I was in high school. The one thing I do regret, though, and the one thing I really didn't know, is just about strength training, nutrition, and stretching. And I know that I could have gone to the next level when it comes to track or basketball if I would have done those things, but I didn't know any of those things,
We didn't, and it's so great that it's out there now. But tell me, did you run the 4x1 relay, or was that straight?
So I did just the 100 dash. I did the 200, and then I did the 4x1 and sometimes the 4x2.
It's the worst of the worst. There's no way to run it. You can't just, you've got to sprint the whole time. People are like, oh no, just slow down on the back. No, you can't. And your lungs like fall out. It's horrible. So no, I ran the same exact events that you did. That's so funny. You go on straight after graduation, knowing that you wanted to go into fitness and nutrition? And
no, I actually, I went straight into college. I actually failed out of college twice. I did the whole partying thing. I got straight into that. That's what I wanted to do. And I didn't know what I wanted to do, Anne. And I continued to do that. And then I got my poop in a group, and I continued forward in school. I ended up actually graduating in 2013 with a business degree with an emphasis in marketing. And I actually, the turning point for me wanting to get into fitness was I actually went on a trip to Hawaii in 2013. And I had came back from that trip.
Mm-hmm.
Had beverages and all the food, and I literally it was a pivoting point in my life that I looked at myself in the mirror, and I was not comfortable with who I saw. I wasn't comfortable with my body. I was unconfident, And mentally, I was just in a weird place. I said, you know what? This is not what I want to be. So
Good for
yeah,
you.
that was my turning point of me wanting to actually go into fitness. So I hired
And interestingly
Mhm.
enough, I certainly do not mean to rip on demographic areas whatsoever. But you are in North Dakota, and I'm originally from the Midwest, and we see the levels of obesity and people being out of shape. I mean, it's hard to work out when it's that cold, and I don't think people understand in the scope of the United States how cold that area gets. I mean,
breathing.
you can't even breathe, let alone do anything else.
Absolutely.
How it's got to be hard sometimes with your peer groups, as it was kind of sometimes with mine, that you're super healthy, and the area just doesn't really condone that, or maybe it does, and people can kind of sabotage you, or, oh, he thinks he's better than us, he doesn't drink, he doesn't do this. Or did you encounter that at all in your area?
I did. Being in North Dakota is definitely different. Um, you know, I've gotten some hate. We all get haters when we start to do something good. I got some hate on that, but there wasn't much else to do around here when it does get cold. I mean, you can go to the lakes in the summertime, but I will tell you that over the course of the first probably 6 years, well, yeah, 6 years, I was doing four shows a year, 3 to 4 shows a year. So I was always in like prep mode, and I didn't drink
That's
very much.
awesome.
And honestly, it's just like with anything, you have to tell people what you're doing, but you have to believe in yourself, and you have to believe in what you're doing, because there will be people that do judge you on not drinking. That's different here. When you don't drink, they're like, oh, that's weird. Well, yeah, to some people it is, but I had a goal and I had a vision, and I kept the course, So yeah, I mean, I did get a little bit of that, but I didn't let it get to my head. I knew that what I was doing was right for me.
Good for you. And you choose to treat your body like a supreme athlete, which it
Yep.
is. And if you have a Ferrari, you're not going to keep putting horrible gas in there. You're
Yeah.
going to put the highest octane.
Yep.
You're going to rev it up. You're not going to put a cheap fuel in
Exactly.
there. It's going to get ruined. And it's good. And I understand exactly where you're coming from, because I face the same thing when I go back, and in even sometimes within my own family,
Right.
which is kind of odd.
I'm sorry to cut you off. It's super funny that you said that. I literally just made a YouTube video talking about, I do market to busy professionals, but my analogy was, if you want to run like a Ferrari, you need to put 91 octane fuel in your gas tank and not 87, because you're not going to perform the way that you want to. So I really love that you said that.
It's got to be hard with some of these busy professionals that you're training with the junk food and with the travel, because who wants to work out when they get to a hotel? I mean, I know that I would and you would, but not a lot of people do that, especially if they do have a corporate job where you sit all day and it's difficult. How do you battle that with your clients?
Well, the first thing is, I do not want to work with anyone that's not a 10 out of 10 on wanting to accomplish their goals. And the reason why is because I was myself sick and tired, and I was sick of making the excuses of why I wasn't at where I wanted to be at. And so I'm all about balance. My clients, they do drink, they do have sweets, but I'm all about showing them how to utilize those things in a positive light instead of a negative light. Everybody looks at a donut or a bowl of cereal or a burger or a beer or a cocktail as a negative thing, and it's not. I tell people, don't give up your lifestyle. I want you to stay balanced, but we need to also stay consistent with eating and your workouts and cardio, etc. And the goal is to hold them accountable, because no one has held them accountable for nobody's ever held them accountable at all. So they've fallen off for a month or a month and a half, and then they'll get back on for 3 days. Well, they're just losing more than they're winning. So my goal is to get them to win more days every single month instead of losing. And that is where the win, that's where you're going to win the war is 3 to 5 years down the road, when you've had, 20 to 25 wins per month instead of 20 to 25 losses. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. A series of little wins to lead to the big win. It's for full sustainability, because these people no one can, like, going to the 75 hard, which we're going to discuss. 90% of people gain the weight back when they have these monster diets or monster workout programs that are very motivating and then they're wonderful in hindsight, but you can't sustain that unless it would take a very special person. And maybe the guy himself, what is his name? It's Andy Frisella. Maybe he does that all the time, but that's his business. It is his business, and he sacrifices a lot. But tell me so describe in your own words what the 75 hard challenge, and if I may, I'm going to read you the five requirements, and then we can break it down. Yes,
of course.
So the 75 hard challenge comes from Andy Frisella, who is all about increasing mental toughness and having grit inside and out. So it's more of a mental challenge over a physical challenge in the way he looks at it. So the 5 requirements are to drink a gallon of water a day, to do 45-minute workouts twice a day, one being outdoor. You can do both outdoors. You probably would choose not to over there. Number 3 would be a nutrition program based on, I think, certain goals and needs. Number 4 would be a progress photo each day. And the 5th, which is very cool to me, is to read 10 pages a day. Basically, all or nothing. This is a 75 hard day challenge with all of these mental and physical and spiritual aspects, really. And it's been argued that, is Andy Frisella almost selling a religion over a workout program or a mental toughness program? It seems to be a lot of people have gone the religious aspect of it. So I'd love for you to break everything down if you could, please.
No, absolutely. So I do love Andy. Andy's a great guy. I personally never met him. I've been listening to his podcast for years. He's always been a good person to look up to. When it comes to motivation, when it comes to just being real and raw. And that's what really attracted me to his challenge. So
what is this podcast called again?
I think it was the MF CEO project, but he recently just changed it. And
he changed it. Yeah.
And I can't remember, because I haven't listened to as many podcasts lately from him, because I've been on Clubhouse.
Sure.
We'll figure. So I can't remember, but.
Oh, I'll look it up. Yeah. No, that's.
So with Andy, in the 75 hard challenge, honestly, it's not for everyone. It really isn't. It is something that will mentally straighten you out. He is trying to adapt some habits so you can do them every single day. And, but I'm going to break this down a little bit. So the gallon of water thing, that's definitely, for me, it's an easy thing to do. But I will tell you that drinking a gallon of water a day, it's not an easy thing to do. It's almost like a task. It's to be able to drink, that amount of water every single day. And that's honestly one of the first things I have my students do in my program, is not drink a gallon of water, but is I have a water accountability for them, because that's something that a lot of people just don't do, is drink enough water in a day. So one thing I hear all the time, I'm like, how much water do you drink in a day? Not enough. So
it is hard because you're constantly going to the bathroom.
It is, yeah. And you got to carry, I have 2 mugs, a water bottle, and coffee. Like I know, like I'm always, and even coconut water, but I'm always trying to keep track mentally. And I've done it for so long that I can just do that. So that is amazing. I think the hydration part, that is a huge health factor that a lot of people need to take into consideration, is drink the water. So the next one is 2 45-minute workouts a day. So obviously the 45-minute workout in the gym, great, awesome. Being a competitor, my workouts last anywhere from an hour to an hour and 30, just depending on where I'm at in my season. Now for an average person going into this, doing a 45-minute workout, that would work for them. They could do that. And I know how to utilize a 45-minute workout. I can definitely do that. I'll just make it a little bit longer. Now, I live in North Dakota, and I started doing this, the 75 hard challenge. I'm not going to lie. I failed miserably a couple times, and I never even got through it, but I'm like, okay, I need to reevaluate where I live. And I am moving next December to Arizona. I do want to accomplish it one day, and I will. But for me to go do an outdoor workout when it's 10 below outside, one, I'm going to get sick, really, really sick. And if I get sick, like really sick, I can't have that to my business. I run a business from home. You know what I mean? I need to show up every single day when it comes, because you know what it's like running a business. I mean,
and not to mention injury outside. You slip on the ice.
Yeah,
Good luck. You crack your head.
And I'm not going to lie though, Ann, like I feel like a slight failure because I'm just like, I'm making an excuse, but it's hard. It really is hard. You
also have kids, you're being unselfish.
Yeah. And
so I think it's cut slack.
Exactly. So, I mean, being in a colder climate that, doing the one outdoor workout, it's hard. It's harder. I even thought about bringing my bike maybe out in my garage and cranking up the garage door or something. I'm like, well, maybe that'll work. My fiance said, you're not doing that. You're not dragging that thing in and out of the house. I'm like, yeah, that'll be just a pain in the butt. And I'm just not going to do that.
A for effort.
Exactly.
But it is hard when you need to do something.
Yeah.
And you missed the success.
I tried, but I did do it for a little while. I failed a couple times. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to reevaluate on what I'm doing, because I'm going to pause from the 75 hard challenge right now, just for a second. But as an athlete, as I've been dialed in and worked with a coach for however long, and I wasn't working with a coach for a little while, just to go off and do something else is very different for me. You know what I mean? I've been so structured on the weights, the stretching, the cardio, and just doing that. Now I'm going to do some challenge. So it was a little weird for me, it was just out of my realm. It was out of my comfort zone.
Wow.
So it was a little different for me, but I wanted to do it because I wanted to see exactly how it would work for me. So, but I will do it. When I'm in Arizona, I'll finish the 75 days. Okay. So next part, it's follow a diet, right?
It was follow a diet. Yeah. No, does he give you specific diets, or was it something on your goals?
No, it's just something on your goals. So, dependent on, so I was just doing macros. So I was just following a macro plan. So I was following a structured set of macro numbers for 6 days and having a refeed meal. And so that's what I was doing. Now, if there's anyone else that's out there that's doing that, there's no specific diet that you have to follow. It could be your own diet. But the one thing he does say in there, that there's no cheat meals allowed.
I saw that. Not even a gummy bear, and definitely no alcohol.
Yeah, well,
and I watched a YouTuber in college with 5 roommates trying to describe how he did the 75 challenge. And it's like, when there's it's impossible. Mm-hmm. You almost have to live in a cave.
Yeah. And I've definitely, so the longest I've ever gone without a cheat meal, this was my first time competing, was 38 days. So he went 38 days straight, I ate the same thing every single day, just smaller portions. But that's how focused I was, but now, since I follow macros, like post-workout, I'll have a handful of gummy bears just to get my glucose levels back up and spike my insulin a little bit. Or I'll have, I have a cup of cereal with some whey protein. So, that was part of my plan and part of my macros. Sure. So, if you are, if you have the toughness and the grit to actually get through that, and you're okay with that, and you know what, depending on where you're at in life and what your situation is, it might be something for you that you need, Do I think that, could I go 75 days of not eating off of a plan? I don't know. I've gone 38, but I've never gone 75. So.
But you also have to live, and it's a sustainable lifestyle. You also have kids and a fiance. Mm-hmm. Are you going to be so regimented? And it's like, because I'm by myself by choice, because I love the structure. I love the discipline. That stresses me out, knowing that with someone else, I'd have to change my routine for someone else. But that's why I make this choice. Mm-hmm. But you're a wonderful father and a wonderful partner to your fiance. Mm-hmm. So you almost have to cut yourself some
Right.
slack, and you know what you're doing. And of all the people, you don't need this. You just change from like a right brain to left brain type of
Totally.
training, which I also think is completely,
Mm-hmm.
it's excellent because you got out of your comfort zone. And I can't wait to hear what you learned from it. But on the next one, did you take your pictures every day? And did you also read your 10 pages of a book? And if so, what did you choose?
Yeah. So pictures, no, not every day. I was like, oh my gosh, I got to take my pictures. I was so used to taking pictures once a week. I'm like, oh, I forgot my pictures. You know what I mean? So and that's where I failed a few times, is that it was that. And then the second 45-minute workout, you know, cause it was freaking 10 below here. And, now the reading, I read every day. The reading was no problem for me. And I think it's a wonderful, wonderful aspect that Andy has in there, because I have some of my clients do some personal development and with reading. I have them read 10 to 15 pages of a non-fictional book. And I've been doing that. I've been incorporating that for a long, long time. So I think
I love that.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely amazing.
Did you read a book on business during that time, or do you always swap out? What are your favorite things to read for nonfiction?
So I really like Ed Milet. I was reading Brendan Michard's book, The Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. What else? Gosh, I was reading a nutrition
Atomic Habits or
Yep. So I was
like a lot of self-help.
Yep. I was doing a lot of different things, things that were going to help me grow.
Yeah. And also get into the minds of your clients, because I think that, for example, Atomic Habits is probably full of a lot of lazy habits that a lot of people inhabit.
I've heard it's a good book.
Okay. It's supposed to be really good, and that will help you understand your clients a little bit better. So, well, it sounds like you did. I think it sounds like you did a really great job. Obviously, you're already in shape. You are not the target market. I guess my question is for you, this is a wonderful thing on social media, and it was blasted all over TikTok and everywhere else. But half of these people are going from 0 to 60. They're overweight. How can they possibly? I mean, you can't just, Rome wasn't built in a day. It can't be torn down in a day. But I think it is an overall great message. However, are these, for example, macros, nutrition, you knew that you needed to swap out a cup of cereal with a protein, Most people don't know that. And there's no cheat day for people that are used to eating ice cream and chips all the time. It just seems to be such an extreme. And also, if they do it, and if they do it well, that's amazing. But are 90% of them, which is usually the statistic, going to go back to their normalcy? I mean, where do you see the dangers potentially, maybe the pros or the cons?
So with something like this, and someone that is very much overweight, and I've seen it work for some people, I really have. But, with some certain individuals getting involved with this, going to that 0 to 60, like you said, even to me, and I'm not saying you're wrong, I think it's 0 to 100, cause it's a huge change. You're going from, it's a 180. Yes, completely. Really. And is it sustainable for some people? Yes, it is. For most, no, absolutely not. It's the same thing when I have my students start in my program. I don't even start talking about nutrition until about week 4. Seriously, I just have them hit their protein goals. I'm like, all right, you have one task, and you have to track your protein. I just want you to get in this amount of protein. Because
good for you.
Because
so intimidating.
It is. You give someone a nutrition plan, a workout plan, then you have all these other habits that you're having them do. They're going to be like, what? It's scary,
And the grocery store and meal prep stresses them out. Like, I love meal prep. I'm sure you do too.
I don't mind it. I don't meal prep for the week. I do everything because I work from home, so I make all my food fresh every single day, because I do have the luxury of doing that. But as an entrepreneur, I'm not gonna lie, there's some times that time slips away. I feel like time goes faster as an entrepreneur. I don't know why, it just does.
Oh, it does, because we're 24/7 in it. And it's like there's no escape. I'm like you, I make the fresh food every day, but when I was traveling, I would always have to do the prep before the plane, especially going to areas, if it was a rural area, good luck. So, and I think the 75 hard is awesome in its messaging. I mean, you don't, to me, you could do one 45-minute workout a day, maybe 10 minutes extra walk for a normal person. And I love the 10 pages a day. I usually do a lot of podcasts and a lot of Kindle because I literally am so ADHD. I can't read. I have to go back to the same thing over and over again.
I'm the same way, and I sometimes I have to listen to an audiobook. I can't always read, and so I consider listening to an audiobook, out part of my 10 pages.
And I think as entrepreneurs too, I can't really sit down. If I sit down, there better be some kind of a program that I'm learning from. There better be like 2 computers in front of me. I can't just sit and
it is tough.
Relax, which is not easy. But then again, don't you feel like sometimes as an entrepreneur, especially in fitness, you drop these balls and it's like, yeah.
And you feel like when you sit down to read that something's going to drop and you're just like, no. But
and it's lazy. What am I doing? I better be doing like glute squeezes while I'm reading. or obliques.
Oh, that's so true.
First of all, I want to be able to support you in your career and all of social media. So I want you to tell us how we can constantly support you. And I also want to ask you, what has been your favorite cheat meal or cheat treat during the pandemic?
Sure. So, so on social media, you can find me on Instagram at Jeff Davis Fit. Same thing on Clubhouse. It's the same thing at Jeff Davis Fit. I'm also on TikTok with my fiance. We have a page together. It's more me, but she's on it. It's Jeff, the letter N, Maria. So Jeff and Maria. And then Facebook, I'm a little active on, but it's Jeff D Fit if you want to find me on there. And thank you for asking that, and I really appreciate that. My favorite cheat meal during the pandemic, and even when I'm competing, I'm a huge Mexican fan. I love Mexican food. I love Mexican food. I don't know if I can single a cheat meal out here because my palate goes back and forth. I love pizza. I'm a huge fan of, there's a burger place here in town. It's called J.O. Beers. And they make burgers in like 5 minutes and they're so good. They're super, super good. And then Mexican, so pizza, a good burger and fries, and pizza, burger and fries, and then Mexican. Those are like my three favorites that I really love. And I'm a huge fan of ice cream too.
Okay, what kind of ice cream?
Oh man.
The chocolates or the fruits? Or the vanilla?
I am a huge chocolate fan. Vanilla is probably gonna be my last, but I will every once in a while go for like strawberry. Like I love strawberry. Okay. And I actually, even during my, sometimes during my prep, depending on how far I was out, I would have some Halo Top ice cream, which is a little cleaner option.
Wonderful. We will be following you completely. And thank you so very much. And that was Jeff Davis on the 75 Hard and all the mental challenges he has gone through and succeeded, and we shall continue. Wonderful, wonderful coach, and the busy professionals, which really need it the most.
They do.
And you are no nonsense, but you are also a gifter. You give little snippets, and you don't pound down nutrition the first day one. So I think that's very important.
Thank you so much.
Thank you again so much.
Yes,
Jeff.
absolutely. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
And that was Jeff Davis, who coaches busy professionals on how to get their ideal body through focused plans and a methodical approach. Final thing, are you willing to attempt the 75 Hard Challenge based on Andy Frisella's strict guidelines? I dare you. We appreciate you for listening, and please subscribe and rate the show on iTunes. You can also listen on Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, Luminary, Tuned In, or at Bleav.com. You can certainly reach out to me for any questions or topics you'd like covered on the show at Ann McDaniels or at Ann McDaniels Actress. And I'll see you next time, if you dare, after the 75 Hard Day Challenge on So